Hello, it is I, Elle-C, and welcome to the stream. This will be a slow Saturday, as usual, so art stream today, so I can finish that piece of art that I started this Tuesday. Hey there, Kurumi. Welcome. Hello, Sir Jacob from quite a few hours ago. Also welcome. And of course, start off today as usual. We are going to start with some Elle Talks. By the way, I have an ear infection. Some water got into my right ear. So now I have an infection and I have to take antibiotics and use some ear drops for a week. Kinda itches. No, kinda tickles inside the right ear. I bet it's going to start hurting soon, but whatever. I can just take some painkillers. Alright, with that said, since this will be a slow stream, let's start off with Elle Talks right away. So, topic for today's Elle Talks, my cats, or to put it more precisely, how I acquired my cats. You are at Great White North, but you will share. Great White North will be at Dyer's stream later on, I think. Hello, Ian Gomez. Welcome. So let's talk about my cats for a little bit. Okay, a brown one is Misha, and the big calico is Michelin, both females. Misha is the mother, but Michelin is the giant daughter. She's much bigger nowadays. She's already big here, but she's much bigger nowadays. Anyways, so let me tell you how I got my cats. So 2020, height of the pandemic, right? So we're all confined in our houses, lockdowns and stuff. Nothing to do except work all day, play video games all day, and cower in fear while watching the news, stuff like that. So at the back of the house, in our backyard, which was open, there was this one stray cat who whenever I went out, really took a liking to me. You know, just wanted to be all friendly with me. So I started feeding her. At first I just fed her scraps of food from our lunch and dinner. So you know, pieces of chicken, pieces of fish, and even some rice, just to ensure that I have enough to actually feed her. Sometimes I just scramble an egg without salt, of course, so that I could feed her. Eventually I started buying extra food, like extra human food, whenever we ordered takeout, food to go, whenever we ordered food to go from delivery riders, which was those delivery riders during the pandemic, they really saved everyone a lot of hassle here. Also made a lot of money. Anyways, eventually I started buying extra, just so I could feed Misha. So Misha is a name that my mother gave her. Hey, Chaos, Demonic Soul Reaper. Speaking of, there's a cat outside. He's not my cat though. Anyways, eventually I started buying actual dry cat food. It was Whiskas cat food. Not the best, I know, but it was passable. So at this point, Misha would come whenever I called her. And we live very close to the highway. Like if you guys have seen my house, once you set foot outside the gates, it is already the highway. So I was kind of apprehensive that eventually she'd get run over by a car. Because cats like to roam around, especially So I found out eventually that Misha here was pregnant. So she looked, when I first found her, she looked to be around maybe 3 to 6 months. Somewhere. 3 to 6 months old. So still growing, but she was indeed pregnant. Eventually, she gave birth to one kitten in our backyard. Yes, she had just one kitten, which is unusual for cats. And that kitten is Michelin, of course. Michelin, not Michelin as in the brand, but Michelle and Lynn, 2 names, which was also given to her by my mother. So I was still taking care of both of them from the outside. Just giving them food, vitamins, and I also dewormed them, because apparently that is very important for cats who roam freely outside. So here's how she became an indoor cat. Hey, Logan, welcome. So here's how Misha became an indoor cat. So she had just given birth to Michelin over there. She was still kind of small. So around 1 to 2 months. No, I'd say 2 months later. So Michelin was now able to walk around on her own, getting very mischievous. Anyways, there was this giant storm. Like a very, very powerful and very scary storm. Like there was rain and lots of lightning and thunder. And at this point, Misha and Michelin were still living outside, usually hanging out at our backyard. So when I checked, I saw that our backyard was starting to get flooded. And the power was out, as usual. You usually turn off the power when there's a very powerful thunderstorm. So I went outside, and then I saw that Michelin there was getting inundated in the flood, and Misha, because she was a very juvenile mother, didn't know what to do. So I did the only thing I thought was right. I took both of them inside the house. Yes. So I saved Michelin from drowning, and then I basically picked up Misha as well and brought the 2 of them inside the house, dried them off with a towel. And at that time my mother was asleep. So when she woke up, I told her about it. And I brought the 2 cats in. And at that point, I had already decided that they would become indoor cats, both of them, and they would be partners for life, mother and daughter. So I got Misha spayed, and then had both of them take their shots from the vet. About how old are they now? Around 3 years old, both of them. 3 to 4 years old, maybe. Both of them. So they are very close in age to each other. Anyways. So I had them take their shots and everything. And when Michelin turned 3 years old. No, 3 months old. the vet suggested that she should get spayed as well, so she had her spay surgery. And let me tell you, after a spay surgery for a cat is kinda hard, because they have to wear the cone, and they don't like the cone. And because both of them are still very young, they are extremely flexible. They can reach their sutures. Even through the cone, they can reach their sutures. And Misha is very prone to fiddling with her sutures. But anyways, they got through the recovery process just fine. Although also feeding them the antibiotics was very... Yes, feeding them the antibiotics was very hard. Fortunately, because they had a cone on, I could just basically wipe the semi-solid viscous antibiotic onto the cone near their mouths, near their noses, and they would lick it up. Because I think it had a nice taste for cats. So, after that, they became indoor cats altogether, and eventually our backyard was converted into an outdoor catio so that they would be nice and happy, so they could go out anytime they want onto the backyard where Michelin was born. And they can't get out because it's now fenced in completely, like cat escape proof. And they became very chunky. Happy ending. But there were some problems with Misha, and I've told you this before. Even when she was outdoors, one of her hind paws, right at the base, had these growths which were red and transparent and had like a dot at the center, like an eye. So these were cysts. And I noticed she kept gnawing and biting it. LDP used to have cats when he was really young. The story goes that his great-grandmother found them roaming around her house and took care of them for a bit. Eventually, he took them in. Same story with Misha. Except, she was pregnant with Michelin. She had only one daughter. So, anyways, Misha had this, cystic growth at her hind paw. And I noticed she kept gnawing at it over and over again, like it really, really bothered her. She could walk and run normally, but it seemed to really bother her. So when I took her to get spayed, I had the vet... Actually, the vet volunteered to remove it surgically, because my vet is a very, very good surgeon. So, she specializes in surgery, basically. But when she took it out, like during the recovery process, Misha had to wear a cone. And like I said, because she's still young, she was still very, very young. Only, maybe less than a year old. She, managed to reach where the sutures were and kept tearing them to pieces, tearing them apart, and then there was this fleshy pink stuff underneath that, and she kept gnawing and biting it whenever she could. And I had to pacify her over and over. But basically, a new growth eventually popped up at the same area. So I took her back to the vet after around 6 months, because I couldn't stand it anymore. It was very, very taxing, stressful for me. Hey! Welcome, Neo. It was very, very stressful for me. So I took her back to the vet. And the vet said she would operate, but this time she needed to have a biopsy taken. There were 5 at first: Taz, Alex, Jasmine, Timur, and Sabrina. When you moved to the current house you lived in, got rid of Timur and Sabrina. Only 3 lived pretty long, about 20 years each. Very, very nice. Did you let your cats roam free, Logan? Because my cats are indoor cats. Anyways, the vet once again surgically removed the new growth, which didn't have an eye, by the way. It was just pinkish. It was very, very pinkish, and it bled a lot because she kept biting it. It really bled a lot. So the vet removed it once again, but this time one of her digits on her hind paw, one of her digits had to be amputated. So I was fine with that. And the vet insisted that this time they lived in her basement. Very good. So the vet insisted that a biopsy be taken. And the biopsy took around 2 weeks to determine whether it was cancerous or not. So let me tell you, during that 2-week wait, it was killing me on the inside. Like, I was wondering if it was cancer or not. And it turns out it wasn't. So all I had to do was wait for her to recover from the surgery. And once again, she had to wear the cone. And once again, she tried to get to her sutures. And I had to give her antibiotics and stuff. So around 1 year passes, and I notice a new growth has once again reappeared, and this time it's pinkish and it's bleeding just like the previous one. So I took her back to the vet again, and the vet said, you know what, this could really turn cancerous if this keeps happening. And that scared me. And she was like, why don't we just amputate the entire leg? Just make her a 3-legged cat. Because 3-legged cats can function just as well as 4-legged cats. So I cried. I was like, no. Look. I know my cat. The reason that the growth keeps coming back is because she can get to her paw, even through the very, very big cone. She was wearing the largest cone for dogs. She still managed to reach her hind paw. That's how flexible she is. Still managed to reach it somehow. Anyways, so I was like, Doc, can you please just take care of her until she recovers? Can you watch her in your clinic? Because they had an area where they could store the cats, basically, and keep them there until they recover. So it took around 2 months with a vet. And of course, I felt very, very sorry for her daughter, Michelle Lynn, who was bigger than her at that point, already fully grown. Because she kept waiting for her mother to return. Every night she'd be near the window, hoping that maybe her mother would appear. So I kept her in bed with me. I slept with her in bed every night during those 2 months when Misha was away at the clinic. And eventually, before the 2 months were up, the vet called me and told me that Misha has finally fully recovered the paw. She won't be gnawing at it anymore, or trying to get to it, because now it's been fully recovered. So it's fully healed now. So it won't be itchy anymore. and I could take her home anytime I wanted. He didn't really like animals at all until he got Sadie and Bowser. So anyways, yeah. So on that day, I took Michelin with me to the clinic, and then we went back home, drove back home with both of them in the same cage, and they were happy. Happy ending. And of course, Misha was finally fully recovered. After like a year and a half of surgeries and going back to the vet. Basically, what happened was that she couldn't fully recover because she would keep biting at her paw. And if she didn't bite at her paw, it would have been easy to recover with just medicine. Check out Michelin's paw here. You see there's a growth on Michelin's paw. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Logan. Because she told me that, three-legged cats could function just normally, but I was like, no. She doesn't need to become a three-legged cat. I know she can recover. And now, it's been quite a few years, maybe 2 years now. She's fully recovered. Nothing. She just needed to be watched over during the recovery process. But you see, Michelin's front paw, there's a growth there. There's a growth there too. There was. But she is much more docile cat than her mother. So all I had to do was place some medicine on it for around 3 days. And she wouldn't actually lick off the medicine. Unlike her mother, who no matter what kind of foul-tasting medicine you put on her paw, she would just lick it off because she wants to be super clean. Anyway, so after 3 days, that growth there on Michelin's paw, which was just some kind of cystic growth, maybe, no, not even a cystic growth, some kind of allergy, it just went away. Just like that. Anyway, so that was my story about my cats. Oh yes, Michelin is an escape artist. She managed to escape like 3 to 4 times. Cats are good when you get older. Cats are good for any age. To be honest, as long as you're responsible for caring for them. And they require a lot less care than a dog. That's for sure. Anyways, let's get to this art stream. Not even gaming today, so he's all good. Before that, though, let's choose some soundtrack RPG, whatever. Chill RPG music. Yosh. Choose one. Dungeons and Dragons? I don't think so. Chill JRPG music, maybe. Alright. That will do. Do cats make you feel less lonely? I don't feel lonely at all, Katsu. Right. I'm not the type who feels lonely just because I'm alone. In fact, I prefer to be alone most of the time. Right. I don't think it's a yes at all. It's more like I'm not the type of person who ever feels lonely. Let's go down a bit here. Alright. Let's get to work. Check out her hair here a bit. Okay, got it. Wakarimashita. Let's go. Also, welcome to the stream. Let's see, do they? Admittedly, you were pretty young when you had the cats. You remember it being about the same amount of effort between them and the dogs you have now. Cats usually never need a bath. Cats groom themselves quite well. So, unless there's some dirt on them that you can visibly see, or something about their fur that's visibly wrong, they don't ever need a bath. They are very efficient at keeping themselves nice and well groomed and clean. Low maintenance. You never have to let them go out to use, how should I say this? To poop and urinate to pee. Because all you need is a litter box. You just have to clean the litter box periodically. That's all. So yes, they're lower maintenance than dogs. Yes, self-grooming means licking themselves. Because their tongues are designed to do just that. If you've ever been licked by a cat, it's like sandpaper. Their tongues are like sandpaper, very coarse, unlike dogs. So, the self-grooming thing is a survival mechanism to keep themselves clean and free from germs, viruses, stuff like that, from disease. Cats are efficient at cleaning themselves. You can look up some videos on that. I recommend Jackson Galaxy's videos on the subject matter. Although cat owners are divided on that. Whether you should just leave cats alone or have them groomed professionally or bathe them yourself. Yes, it doesn't sound hygienic to you, so just look it up. Because it actually is. Sadie licks herself all the time. Like dogs are not efficient at doing that. They are not designed to do that. So that doesn't work the same way. their saliva, not their saliva, their tongues have these tiny barbs all over them. And even without bathing them, cats never really smell bad. So that shows you how efficient they are at cleaning themselves. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go look it up on the internet or something. You can find your own sources, I'm pretty sure. And like I said, cat owners are pretty divided on that. Whether you should bathe your cats yourself, or whether you should have them groomed, or just let them be. Yes, cats are also efficient at keeping their own nails, their own claws, nice and sharp and free from dirt, basically, because they would actually bite off or just keep scratching the parts of the claw which have become way too long. That's why it's important to give them stuff to scratch. They are also declawed. No. You never declaw your cat ever. Maybe you didn't know this, but the cat's claws, yes, the cat's claws are like digits. Cat's claws are like digits. It's like the last, what's it called? Tarsal. It's like the last, what's it called? Metatarsal? Oh, metacarpal, I think. It's like the last metacarpal of the finger. You know how our fingers have like 2 joints? No, 3 joints. So the claw is the final joint. It's actually connected to a blood vessel. So getting them declawed hurts them. Not only does it hurt them, it deprives them of their only weapon, their best weapon, aside from their fangs, of course. And cats are natural hunters. They're natural-born hunters. They have a hunter's instinct. So imagine being a hunter without a weapon. That's how they feel, because cats do have feelings. So they would feel very inadequate once they realize that they no longer have any claws. So never. So never ever do that to your cat. Yes, you can trim the claw yourself. Correct, Ravenflight. You can trim the claw yourself if your cats are not efficient at doing it. But my 2 cats are rather efficient at trimming their own claws. Also, cats can clean their own teeth. Give them a cardboard box or something to chew on, like some kind of mint, some made for cats. Some catnip mint, like a tree bark, but catnip mint, made for cats. They are efficient at cleaning their own teeth. Yes, never defang a snake unless you're practicing Filipino martial arts. Defanging the snake is a very important concept. But that's another story. Raven flight is correct. See, a lot of people who hate cats simply do not understand their ways. Like how cats are not naturally friendly animals. Like they show friendliness, they show acceptance in different ways, like a slow blink. Hmm? That's right. Like so. There. When you do that to a cat. Yes, dogs are naturally friendly. A little too friendly sometimes, which is why cats can get pretty anxious around an extremely friendly dog. Because they do not understand the body language. Cats and dogs have different body language. Both quite magnificent animals, mind you. But they are different. So, most cats do not like the belly rub. Because even if they expose their bellies to you, that's not an invitation to rub the belly. That's just a way of saying, I trust you. Or in some cases, I love you. Always thought it would be funny to irrationally hate a random species of animal. Well, most people hate snakes in general. Because we have an instinctive fear of snakes, I believe. As, what the? Primates. Oh, no wonder. I was wondering why the color wasn't coming out. I was working on the wrong layer. Look at that. これはいいですよ。これで。天才だ。上手だね。私は。That should do it. Most people are scared of flying cockroaches too. Like when it's in midair, something about the way it's flying looks very threatening, I suppose. It never occurred to most people that you just swat it away with whatever you have on hand if you don't want to touch it. Or just swat it away with your hand. Bye-bye, cockroach. Bakatachi. Mosquitoes with malaria. Or, in the case of the Philippines, dengue fever. Dengue hemorrhagic fever. Which usually is spread by the Aedes aegypti type of mosquito. You can tell that it's an Aedes aegypti if you catch the mosquito. Look at its body. Look at its body. If it has white stripes, black and white stripes, that is an Aedes aegypti mosquito. But I'm not scared of an Aedes aegypti mosquito because, you know, they are small and weak, and you can crush them with one hand. They may have ways of somehow killing you eventually, but you have ways of killing them instantly. It all evens out. Some being more even than others. huge fear of roaches. She lived in New York. Flying roaches are fine. Your dad is scared of them, though. Your animal fear is wasps. They're everywhere, and all they do is sting. War with wasps continues. You don't fear wasps for the same reason the Romans didn't fear Carthaginians or Gauls. Speaking of Gauls, I have some comic books of Asterix. I think I've shown it to you guys before. Cockroaches are naturally pretty clean. It's the specific filth we create in cities that makes them dirty. That is interesting, Ravenflight. I didn't know that. I thought they just had carried all kinds of diseases by default because they dirty. So it's the fact that they wallow in the sewers and other places which makes them dirty. Yeah, makes sense. Wakarimashita. I learned something new today. Yes. Right. Seems good. Just see how I did this. Seems good. Roaches in several societies with less centralized infrastructure show cockroaches as a source of nutrition. Yes, insects are a good source of nutrition, I suppose. Got all that protein from their shells, the keratin. That said, I would not eat the cockroach. The very idea of doing so, I find very repulsive. Very unappetizing. Makes me wanna puke from just thinking about it. You'd be curious to try it. I never allow curiosity to override my tastes, my base tastes. I'm not a very curious person as far as new things go. As far as unusual and new things go, I'm not very curious in general. Which is why you never see me trying any of those new games or trends that come out. I'm like, yeah. No likey. Or like, you know what, whatever this new thing that everyone is trying out, I'll try it out eventually when I feel like it. Not because, not gonna try it just because everyone else is interested in trying it out at the moment. Honey pot ants are genuinely sweet. very adventurous when it comes to food. In Australia, the indigenous population would survive off of wheat grubs, probably one of the coolest bugs. The honey pot ant, dried crickets. Supposedly, it's what we will all be eating in about 100 years or so. Well, that's one reason not to live forever, I suppose. That's one reason why immortality may actually kind of suck. I am very conservative when it comes to my personal tastes, especially in food. I know what I know what I like. I'm not gonna try anything else at this point in my life. My likes and dislikes are already set in stone. We'll add a few here. Is that from Final Fantasy VI or something? Years from now, Soylent Green is a people. Yes. 100 years from now, we'll look at that prediction and be reminded of how decadent and self-hating society was back then. Maybe. Well, you know, I believe society works in society works kind of like a dialectical Marxism, but it's more like it's not really a pendulum swing. It's more like a paradigm shift. It's just a shift from one paradigm to another. So there's really no predicting what society will be like sometime in the future. At least that is my viewpoint on the subject matter, based on my personal observations. If you don't like it, you just won't have it again. Never been a seafood fan, but if there is a fish you've never tried, you'd try it. Never been a seafood fan. I hate all kinds of seafood. So if there is a fish prepared by some Michelin star restaurant, I would never ever try it and never ever be curious about it. And if people tell me that I'm missing out, I'd be like, yes. Very nice. Yes. I'm missing out. Yes, I live in the Philippines and I don't like seafood. Indeed. Tasting history with Max Miller. I prefer the Townsends, actually. I like the type of food they had, was that, in the Middle Ages. There's also this one guy, this Japanese guy, who basically goes around in his camper van thing, and goes camping and starts cooking stuff. The stuff he cooks, he doesn't really describe it much, but the stuff he cooks looks very tasty. Does these 3-hour to 30-minute videos. What are my favorite foods? Interesting question. I like potatoes, especially potato salad and French fries, and whatever. I just like even mashed potatoes. I like them. Other than that, I also like savory salads. Without seafood, of course, like a vegetable salads. So, Caesar salad, chef salad, whatever. I like all types of salads. What else? Broccoli and cauliflower steamed vegetables. I like those. Corn. As for meats, yes, roast pork, roast beef. Chicken. I like those. And of course, burgers. And steak. Steak! Well done. Oozing with gravy. Those who say that just love shoe leather. It's just myoglobin. Blibble blah blah. Screw you. People don't eat potatoes or tomatoes in medieval Europe. Why does everybody pretend they do? Well, the Townsends, if you will look at their channel, they always have some cookbook from the time period, and they always try to replicate exactly how they would have cooked. They even have this little hut, and they use all authentic tools. Which is kind of different from Tasting History with Max Miller. He just cooks the stuff using modern equipment, but trying to be faithful to how it would have been presented, I suppose. Back in the usually he does like a Roman era style stuff. Yeah, how to recreate it in a modern kitchen. Oh, he does all kinds of eras. I guess that's true. I stand corrected. It's just the majority of stuff I've seen from him, usually Roman era. Like Roman Empire era stuff. Yes, you'll find these cooking channels actually do touch upon the history and philosophy of the food that they cook. Yes, they try to be very historically accurate, and they are open to critiques, as long as you can back up said critique. There's a few other like a history focused cooking channels or food channels. Never find niche stuff like this on TV. That is true. In general, there's also no drama that I know of from the different history-focused cooking channels. I believe the Townsends is 18th century cooking. I like the type of food that they cook the most. Just stews, like a mushroom ketchup. That's the first time I'd heard of mushroom ketchup. And the main host for the show has this obsession with nutmeg. No drama right now. Well, drama can erupt at any time. So yes, no drama right now. But that's a very pessimistic way of looking at it, isn't it? I mean, the fact of the matter is there is no drama. So, the fact that drama can erupt at any time doesn't really need to be pointed out, does it? Just an opinion. You think it's more realistic? I think that's more pessimistic, but that's just my viewpoint. I like to look at I'm a pragmatic person, to be honest, but I like to believe in the positive. I like to see the positive. And, anime has taught me that even in the face of adversity, it's better to hope. Which is what I like about Narcissus. Even on the verge of death, there is always something about the human experience, some kind of triumph you can achieve or you can aim for. Best to be optimistic in perspective and pessimistic in expectation. I believe in a more balanced take. I believe in seeing things as they are and not having any expectations. So I don't have any expectations of anything. I have predictions based on what I can observe at the moment. Hope for the best, expect the worst. I disagree with that, but that's just me. Hope for the best and manage your expectations based on what you can observe at the moment. That's why I say I'm pragmatic. So I don't prejudge stuff. Basically, that prevents me from prejudging stuff, from having any prejudice that, eventually things will fall apart. Because eventually all things will fall apart anyway. So I think it's sad to already have that presumption about everything. The ego, the superego, and the innate desire of being. Hope for the best, expect the unfortunate, works towards shifting the odds towards the outcome you seek. That's pretty good. Although that seems a bit idealistic. That's a little bit too idealistic for me. Another reason you disagree is that for some reason, whenever you have a pessimistic outlook, you win. That's very anecdotal, though. What works for you may not work for other people. Because, like I said, it's anecdotal. Interesting discussion we're having as I am making this lewd little illustration. Ideals are not something we're guaranteed or promised to reach their goal to aim for, because when we stop moving, we fall into a slump, and when we deprive ourselves of action, life momentum falls. I'm making something lewd? Yes, it is lewd by implication. Hope for the best, but if the worst happens, try to foresee it and have a backup plan for your backup plan. Yes, be prepared. That's pretty good. Of course it's lewd. It's lewd by implication. Just looking at the shadows a bit, so I can have some idea of how I want to do this. Cynical optimism is one of the balanced outlooks on life. Of course, there are many. I never really look at what these different outlooks on life are, because I have my own, forged by my personal experiences. It may mirror some of those that have already been discovered, I suppose, by other people. Yes, the L in Elle sometimes stands for lewd, sometimes stands for lowly. Describing them is more a curiosity without real importance for most. For you, it's just everything will be lost in the future, but that's okay because it has no bearing on character. It will be gained and lost again. I can agree with that. One more thing though, in the future we won't even exist anyway. And if some super advanced intelligent race manages to unearth our culture, our history, ourselves as people, they are going to interpret it however they want. Just like how our own historians, archaeologists, scientists interpret things however they want and claim that it's super accurate, even though later on it's discovered, oh, maybe it's not so accurate. Hey, there's this pile of fossils. It's a big dinosaur with a very long neck. Let's call it a brontosaurus. Wait a minute, says another brilliant scientist, equally brilliant, maybe more brilliant than the previous one. Wait a minute. These fossils are not from the same species, so the brontosaurus does not exist. Wait a minute, sometime in the near future, another scientist pops up. Or another group of scientists pops up. Wait a minute, Actually, the Brontosaurus does exist. So which is it? Personally, who cares? Land Before Time was still pretty good anyway. It was still entertaining as a child, so who cares? If Lillfoot never existed or actually existed, they can have that debate all they like until they expire. The point being, I leave the interpretations and being fussy to other people who are interested in that sort of stuff. Just like the people who keep obsessing over human filth like Mr. Chris Chan. Who cares about Chris Chan? I certainly don't. Baka na ito. I think therefore I am a discrete entity according to my observations, which are limited to what my flawed senses and senses of self provides. And my interpretation of I think therefore I am is quite literally what it says. Because I think I am existing. Because I have consciousness, I exist. That is the proof of my being. Something like that. Just the very literal interpretation of the words. That's, I think the Latin for that is like cogito ergo sum, is it? Not sure. Maybe it's completely different. Don't remember the philosopher who said this, but I personally believe in we are sure of nothing but our own existence. Are we sure of our own existence? Like, are you sure that, every one of us actually exists, and you're not actually the only person existing? What if you're actually the only real person here and everyone else is an NPC? Ha 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 ha. Solipsism. I think this music is from Rails of Cold Steel. Is it? Doesn't say. Never mind. What's this? This ain't Pornhub or OnlyFans. Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Caught in a landslide. No escape from reality. Oh no. You prefer you observe, therefore I am. That actually makes more sense. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man on the planet and ruled Rome through a logical, humble, virtuous philosophy, and through honor and greatness. Voltaire was a loser who liked getting spanked by his own mother. Is that really true, though? I don't idolize any ancient people, because I can never be sure of how they actually lived their lives. Marcus Aurelius was greatly overrated, according to Raven Light. I take a more Buddhist approach in my personal philosophies. Never be fascinated by anyone.
Overrated.
If you meet the Buddha on the road, kill him. If you meet your father on the road, also kill him. Never fascinated nor bound by anyone. I agree with Raven Flight, mostly. Because of what I said. Once again, this one is from Final Fantasy. 7, I think. Watch this, watch me make some... How did this AI do the shadows like this? Yeah. The reference I'm using, by the way, for the colors is AI generated, amusingly enough. If AI can copy from humans, humans can copy from AI too. AIception! Of course, how sure are you guys that I'm actually a human being here and not just some hyper-intelligent AI pretending to be some anime girl? Heh. Heh. Think of how many... Oh, that's a good point, Ravenflight. And this is an interesting discussion we're having here. This happened to be in a position of power and prestige. That is true. I agree with that. Born into the right place at the right time. That I agree with, yes. Which goes for a lot of other people lauded throughout history as well. Which is why I say I really do not idolize anyone, any historical figure. Because, you never really know for sure. And even if you know for sure, it's healthier, I believe, to think for yourself based on the knowledge, skills, and experiences that you have acquired throughout your life. But again, that is just my personal take on the subject matter. Good discussion, good discussion. Do keep it up, guys. This is entertaining. Although, to be honest, I never really, like, we had to study those philosophers for political science. But, my mind is like a sieve when it comes to that type of information. I, generally discard said information as soon as I pass the exam. You agree, but where did you get where did you get the assumption that I don't listen to the greats? I think Katsu is replying to me, Ravenflight. But I never implied that I don't listen to the great. You activated my trap card, Ravenflight. We have these exams that incentivize cramming and not actually learning. I agree. Yes. That is very true. Most of your education came after school. I think that is true for a lot of people who went on to pursue more knowledge beyond school. School never taught me how to draw. For one, school never taught me how to make my own VTuber avatar. I learned this stuff on my own. At least we are moving towards a more meritocratic culture, especially when it comes to hiring people. Right? Nowadays, nowadays companies, when they hire, are looking for people who can actually deliver. Modern culture is very unmeritocratic, but as far as the job market goes, I think we are moving more towards meritocracy. Chances of staying within your own class for the rest of your life are increasingly high. I think that's more a problem with lack of opportunities for ladderization, depending on where you live. But social media, for example, has created instant millionaires, and tons of them, and even the pandemic has created tons of instant millionaires here in the Philippines who started their own businesses and made it big. Of course, for every one person who makes it big, there's probably thousands of other people who tried the same thing and failed. It's just a matter of timing, luck, and perhaps some actual ability. Broadly speaking, many countries are split between a meritocracy, a corporatocracy, a kleptocracy, and a gerontocracy. What's a gerontocracy? I am a firm believer in meritocracy. By the way, you judge people for their abilities, their capacity to actually deliver. I have this friend, by the way, who I used to play lawn tennis with, and this friend knew how to string rackets very well. He had a knowledge of what was the proper stroke to use for which type of balls, like how to do a forehand or backhand swing like the way the pros do it, what is the name of this stroke, that stroke, what types of grips there are, the buggy whip, whatever, no, not buggy whip shot, no, the windshield wiper forehand shot, which is the recommended shot nowadays. core consistency as well as power, etc. So he had all types of knowledge of that sort of stuff. I, on the other hand, was a varsity player from elementary until high school. So whenever we play, he gets a 0. Just a difference in abilities. Gerontocracy, rule by the elderly. It's not everything when it comes to success in wealth or career. It is not everything. I just believe in it. I just believe that ideally, people should be judged based on their abilities. So going back to my friend, I would never tell him this, but in the back of my head, I'm like, dude, with all your knowledge of that sort of stuff, you have almost as much knowledge as a professional tennis coach. Why can't you beat me? Why do I just basically kick your arse very easily? Well, such a grandiose problems are far beyond my capacity to even do anything about Raven flight. So, as far as I'm concerned, such things are not my concern. Can't do anything about it. So I just do my best with the stuff that I can do something about. Besides, I'm not a very nice person, so I don't really care about making the world a better place for everyone else. I'm like, as long as it benefits me in some way, that's all I care about. Because like I said, I'm very pragmatic. So I don't believe in idealistic goals. Need to figure out how to do this shadow here. Something like this, perhaps? We'll see how it looks. This BGM right now, I feel it's a vocal song. Or maybe I'm just imagining things. I feel it's a vocal song. Your favorite parasite. Hello, Sir Jacob. That, but, yes. Goes from here to here. Should go from here to here, but it should have a little bit of a bulge right there. And then goes down like that. Hi. Right. Making the world a worse place, one water bottle at a time. Maybe I am. It's best to be somewhere in the middle. Practicality is a virtue, but so is courage. Okay, guys, so since you like talking about philosophy, let's talk about yesterday's story and the narcissist stories in general. Let me know your opinions. So as I've said yesterday, so in the narcissist stories, it's usually a story about people who are fated to die, people with terminal illness, sentenced to die on the 7th floor, either at the 7th floor or at home upon discharge. So these people, in these stories, would you say these people are totally useless? What is the purpose of these people? Would you say these people should just die as soon as possible or not? I mean, what's the use of even living if you're going to die very soon? Anyway, at some unspecified future time. And how does a person like that even find happiness? How does a person like that even be heroic? Even strive to be heroic, or even strive to be of some use to society when realistically they just can't? Isn't everyone going to die eventually anyway? So what would be the purpose of the existence of such an individual? Is the main question. Everybody's going to die eventually, but at different times. But for people who are on the verge of death, with very, very limited time, and who are probably in pain from their disease, what would be the purpose of their existence? To be the best person they can. But what if they're not very good people at all anyway, and they don't want to be the best person they can be? Because in some of the narcissist stories, there are some characters like that. Is there some altruistic purpose to their existence? Why wouldn't they want to be the best? Because, maybe because some people think differently than others. Purpose is completely subjective. To strive towards an ideal is entirely within the individual's will. Purpose is not a goal. It is an ideal you chase to simply give yourself reason to live. That is it. That's very good, Ravenflight, which actually ties in well with the themes of Narcissus. A lot of the characters, not all of them, a lot of the characters in the different stories, eventually, they do find some purpose to their existence, some goal to strive towards, which is what fuels them to live on, or sometimes fuels their decision to take their own life. So yes, it also touches upon suicide and whether it's actually justifiable or not. It asks that question of the reader, but doesn't explicitly give any kind of answer, which is what I like about it. A reason to live a few more days, a few more months, instead of taking your life immediately. Or maybe simply trying to find a place to die other than the 7th floor or at home. Hello, Michael Brent. You like to draw too. Very nice. And maybe we'll add a few more creases here. Yes. Well, in the narcissist stories, it's the suicide is not euthanasia, if that's what you're thinking. Well, I guess it's better if you guys have read the story before we discuss this. But in the main story, how could one tell when one's own mind is playing tricks or broken, and how would another from the outside observe that? The thing you never got about that sort of thing is why not just be patient? Well, the narcissist stories that do show you the mindset of the characters on the verge of death and their personal circumstances, which leads them to whatever decisions they make in the end. But it's better if you guys had actually read the story, I suppose. Or at least some of the stories. We achieve victory by the art of war. Victory is won through strategy. This is that from Sun Tzu's Art of War. I don't know, maybe. Taking the high ground whenever possible is also from the Art of War. It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. I have the high ground. Master Roshi. From Ninja Turtles. Oh no, from Dragon Ball. Did he say that? What the? Hey. That waltz thing is from Cinderella. No. From Sleeping Beauty. What's going on? I mean, it's not bad. I'm just wondering what's going on here. This was supposed to be a JRPG soundtrack. It's also narcissistic to presume you are above others, innately taking the moral high ground can backfire when improperly utilized. That's true. That's why I never bother with trying to correct other people, because I do not judge other people. As a rule, as a personal rule, I don't judge other people. They can do what they want, as long as they don't bother me. As soon as they bother me and try to dictate what I should be doing, even if they have some cockamamie explanation as to why they think I should be doing this and that because it's good for me, I'm like, no. It's war. No, just stop doing that or it's war. Do not tell me what to do, because I do not tell you what to do, nor do I tell others what to do, nor do I judge others, so leave me the F alone. I do not care if you're concerned about me. I do not care if whatever you say you think will be good for me. At this point in my life, I know my personal philosophies. I know what I want, when I want, and what is good for me and what is not. So do not treat me like a child. or even as a friend, do not patronize me. Otherwise, I get very mad very easily. Eh? Nice. いいでしょ、これ。Yes, when he was. Oh, I already read that. Do 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 do. Maybe I'll make the fingernails as well at this point. Why not? I'll just keep adding details until I get bored. I mean, I could have called this completed some time ago. There's something very nostalgic about that music that's playing right now. I love it. Ooh, the chat has grown silent. Eh. Oh, it hasn't grown silent. It was my own chat. Hey, Gerardo and Road. It was my chat. The explanation. The schedule. Google's definition of patronize. What? Tired of people using IQ as a metric for intelligence. Do 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 do. So my chat froze for a few minutes there, so I didn't know what you guys were talking about. I thought the chat just suddenly went silent. Flippin' YouTube does that sometimes. And now the momentum is kinda lost. I don't know what happened. Or what you guys were talking about while I was just busy drawing. No, not really drawing, just rendering stuff. Playing Pale World. Pal World. Pal World. Oh, it's a new thingy. It's that Pokemon thingy. If you were to judge intelligence better, it would be a series of scores based on the speed of performing calculated tasks and reflexes in various areas. In other words, how good you are at gaming. Not just general knowledge pools. In other words, how good you are at different video games, right? Kinda fits, kinda fits. Gotta admit. Depends on the video game. I mean, even the most basic video games do require some mental calculation. Well, I guess not all games, I guess. There are some that just rely on knowledge, prior knowledge of the game. Guess I'll render the toenails here too. Intelligence is just mental processing. Personally, the only way I would judge how intelligent a person is if I get to talk to that person. So I can personally assess said individual. Not based on anything else except my personal assessment of said intelligence. Hey. Makes you wonder whether you think you're smart, dumb, or somewhere in the middle. Sane! I think that all of you guys here on my channel are quite intelligent. How's that? Yeah, Elle gives a safe and very vague answer, which doesn't really answer the question. I personally think that's the intelligent answer to give. Just trying to make you feel good. Maybe I am. Did it work? Do you feel good? If so, then it has done its job, hasn't it? Made you feel sufficient to expected standards. Something about the shadows here I don't like. Other than that, it's more or less completed except for the mouth. And then the hair ribbon. Hanging on to any energy you have left before you pass out. You're playing some Tekken 8 earlier, weren't you, Sir Jacob? What do you think of the complaints that the conservatives have about Tekken 8? Apparently, Lily said something woke in French or something, and then they made the females a lot less sexy. Than they were in the previous games. Yeah, Tekken 8. Apparently, Lily said something. Hello, Cerulean. They look sexy to you. Yeah, apparently they made the clothing less provocative. In fact, you can watch if Brandon is still streaming right now. You can watch, or you can watch the replay of Brandon, the anime guy's stream, which was probably going on the same time as mine. Started a little bit earlier, wherein they tackle Tekken a little bit, only a little bit. Got the Ultimate Edition, so you'll be getting all the DLC. Good job with those juggles on Jin, by the way. Not a fighting game player, so you have no opinion. What about the previous discussion, guys? By Ravenflight and Katsu and myself. Please share your opinions. You don't trust something if it's probably going to be woke. Same here, Katsu. There is a video game that I like with some elements of woke, and that is Time Spinner. Time Spinner is a Metroidvania done in the same style as Symphony of the Night. I like it, but it definitely has some very woke elements, which don't get in the way of the actual gameplay, fortunately enough. I'm not exactly selling it. No, I'm not. See, I don't really care if people like a game that I like or not. I'll just say my opinion on it. So I'm not trying to get you guys to play the game. I'm just telling you about the game. I'm just telling you it exists. And it has some woke elements, but I still like it anyway. Alright. We're here. Ah, over here, right. This is where I wanted to. There we go. Usually trust the games I like, but you won't play that one. It's pretty good. Who cares if nobody appreciates it? So here is the woke element. I might as well tell you about it. The main character is a female, right? And in her village, there is this other character who has the same abilities as her, but he is a male, so definitely he is weak and arrogant. And basically, can't do anything right. One woke element down. Another woke element, somewhere along the way, she meets this very buff warrior girl who is the guardian of this small encampment of humans who are left alive. And eventually, throughout the course of the game, they fall in love. So it's man-hating, kinda, yes. But those are very minor elements of the game. Like, it's just a few lines. So they don't really, get too distracting. But it does feel like they were shoehorned in. And of course, if you ask the woke people about it, it's like, you guys never seen a normal relationship before? Don't you know it's normal? Although the buff warrior girl is black-skinned and has that one-sided hairstyle, you know, one side bald, one side long hair, one side bald. That one-sided woke hairstyle, which feminists love for some reason. Time to make this lewd. That's about enough of that. Now, hey, check it out without the line art. Looks pretty good, huh? Anyways, what I'm going to do is, I will now color. Big buff girls, but the hairstyle. She's also black-skinned. So definitely, they did those things on purpose. Now we shall color the line art like so. And, multiply, use multiply. I'm just taking my sweet time with coloring this, cause, well, it helps to extend the stream a bit further. For some reason, people like to associate those things with a movement. Speaking of communism. So, here in the Philippines, communism is, kinda different. Like, communists are more violent, and they are also a lot more reviled. But ironically, here is the irony. Because the Philippines is a Catholic country that embraces Catholic ideals, you know. It actually overlaps with socialist ideals. So a lot of people, without realizing it, actually embrace socialist ideals. Like, you know, prioritizing the poor and being kind to everyone, which is of course a very Catholic thing to do. But what they don't realize in being Catholics is that they're actually parroting certain phrases, certain quotations used by socialist and communist groups. So people are socialist here without even realizing it. Even though when you ask somebody about communism, they'd be like, communists are terrorists. We hate communism unless they came from UP Diliman. Because those guys think they're so much smarter than everyone else. So they embrace communism because they know what's good for people. Because they actually studied it. We actually studied it. Haha, our teachers are the best. You guys know nothing. You do not know what is good for you. Only we know what is good for you. For society in general. Because we the smart guys. Hey, Kurumi. Alien. Nuclear. Annihilation, baby. You guys should read my story called Connections. So, there's a story I wrote called Connections. which basically takes place in a chat room. So inside this chat room are some old friends, and our main character is an old guy who was once a celebrated writer, but nowadays not a lot of people know about him, although there are still some fan groups that remember his glory days when he won awards and was a very active writer. So he has this tiny chat room among a group of friends with fellow writers who never made it as big as him. So one day he jumps into the chat room and tells everyone that he is going to die. And then he tells them about this terminal illness he has. How he's drifting in and out of consciousness. And of course the different writers and friends he has in that chat room are mortified to hear about this. So finally, before he logs off, he says, if you don't hear from me, once again, maybe I'll have already passed on. So a few weeks later, he logs in again using the same account, but this time the account says, hello, I am this guy's sister. Basically, I'm here to tell you all that he died. So everyone works together, basically, to, you know what, let's make a website. Let's make some memorial shrines in honor of our friend here. Because I know I can still summon his old fan groups and tell them about what happened. And we should have a little bit of a celebration of his life. So they're planning all of this. And they're all happy. Kinda bittersweet. But they're happy that they will be able to do something nice for their friend, right? Following me so far? So, the next day, a meteor lands on Earth and destroys all life on it. Hey. So, basically, they have this before the main character dies, they have this philosophical talk, very similar to the talk we all had here about how will people remember us years from now. And the main character is the only one who says, you know, it's all for nothing anyway. If some alien civilization sees us in the future, their historians will just interpret everything, whatever. So me being a celebrated writer, or a former celebrated writer, how much will it really matter when, you know, in the blink of an eye, everything could just be erased and you could be remembered for something else entirely because some joker from another civilization says so, and he's in the position to say so. Nothing matters. We choose what matters for our own satisfaction. That is the theme of my story. Ravenflight, you got it. Daniel Larson VTuber Saga. I was here, right? In the line art portion. Am I still using the same? I feel like I'm not using the same shade anymore. Probably not. Yep, I knew it. Make it a bit darker and it should work. It is so. Even darker, maybe. music is so flippin' dramatic. After this, I think I want to maybe make my schedule for next week using this one, or make my unscheduled thumbnail once again using this one. Okay. Now for the hair. Getting epic sounding true. So, there we go. We are almost done with this. Gonna add a blush and change the color of her mouth a bit. And, that should be it. Just slap AI on self-replicating space-faring drones that may continue the purpose of observing as much of the universe as they can. As far into the heat death as it will go. We won't be there for it. I mean, Xenogears, and the Deus project in Xenogears is kinda like that. Except, it's a machine that can create life. Can inhabit different planets and create life on said planet. So that's why it's called Deus. Juice. Thinking more of going beyond life. Sword of Omens, give me life beyond life. After all, the flesh is weak. Like ghosts in the shell. Basically, have your consciousness exist beyond your physical form. But here is the thing. How would you be able to transfer consciousness? Is it even possible to quantify? Like, yeah, that's the question. Is it even possible to quantify an individual person's consciousness? Much less break it down into data. I mean, even if it looks, acts, sounds, or thinks like you, even if it thinks completely like you, is it really still you? Is the question. Droids being their own consciousness beyond life, beyond humanity. Draw some pictures of Elle-C in space. It's GMC again. Hello. Is a being all its own. That's a cool idea. I wouldn't be against it, but I wouldn't really care about it either way. And it's as deserving of the right to exist and observe as any thinking being, to be honest. It's more a passion project. I mean, Japan is obsessed with that type of stuff, right? You know, projecting consciousness onto inanimate objects. Or robot girls. One fetch visual novel that explores. Do they have space travel in the Philippines? Of course not. suspect a lot of it is because of the animistic properties of Shintoism. True. What is consciousness but procedurally generated datasets on organic hardware? Yes, but the consciousness you have right now, from which you are viewing everything, from which you are observing everything, I don't really think there's any way to transfer that. But yes, it's a different topic altogether. You were talking about something else. Anyways, I've always been fascinated with that idea though. Like this consciousness that we have, just perceiving the world around us. When did it begin? When did we begin to have consciousness? I mean, science can determine when we start to perceive the world around us, but is that really all there is to it? Like, don't you guys have memories from, from when you were not supposed to have said memories? Things that you were not supposed to remember. Being in the womb, hearing people talking around you. Actually understanding what they may be saying. Don't have memories like that. When did life begin to process sensory input? True, you don't have memories like that. Some people do. And who can say whether or not these memories are true or not? We can only speculate that they may be just made up by the imagination, or just flat out lies. Yes, you don't have to believe them. I'm saying there is an objective truth. How can we be certain that the objective truth is that these memories are not real? We can't, right? Melodies of life, love's lost refrain, faded cross. You can within a practical margin of error. Yes, practical margin of error data. Those are all man-made things, but you can never be 100% sure. How can we be sure they're real senses? Yes, those people with out-of-body experiences. We don't have enough data right now to say whether those out-of-body experiences are real or not. And also I don't really trust the people who have noted down these observations of people with out-of-body experiences to say whether they're telling the truth or not. Yeah, they may be telling the truth, but their brains could also be lying, or they may be lying outright. the immaterial spirit world logically has to exist. Is that so? And why is that? Why do you think the immaterial spirit world logically has to exist? That's interesting. Yeah. Ravenflight, you kind of remind me of a friend of mine. Wait, is that you? No, he had a different channel. I have a friend who talks a lot like you. Because if it didn't exist, then modern culture would have become depressed and immoral, following the loss of that belief, huh? Is that so? I don't, agree with that. Besides, aren't we all depressed and immoral right now? At least some people seem to believe that that is the case. Interesting. 面白いだね。あれ Oh. Oh! I was wondering why there was some white. What have I done? Did I do something? Nope, it's okay. Right. I was wondering why there's a lot of white here. Basically, I just never colored this area. Hey. Yeah. Must color this area. Okay, that works. Now where's the line art? We shall erase a little bit of it, make it softer. Always make it a little bit soft. People decided to stop believing in the immaterial and then they went insane. So the world right now is insane. Is what you're saying? But if it does exist, why so many different interpretations of it across different cultures? Personally, I don't believe in anything that can't be approximated. I don't believe, but I don't actively disbelieve, if that makes any sense. So that's why I am an agnostic atheist. Perhaps because the material is so complicated that none of them are necessarily wrong. That doesn't explain contradictions, though. That does not explain contradictions in their different interpretations. Yosh. Make it a bit softer. And finally. Oh, the ribbon. Oh, anyways, we'll forget about the ribbon for now. We'll deal with it later. For now, I want to capture this nice little blush she has here. Nice little blushing face. You know, I'm so happy to have a PC that will actually not bog down as I'm rendering stuff like this. All of my previous PCs would eventually start to slow down the more details I put in. Not this one though. Yes, Nagi Mark III. He's a strong PC. Alright. Now then, blush lines. I understand. Used to have a PC that couldn't handle web browsing. If there were more than 2 tabs open. What did it have? Like 2 gigabytes of RAM? Maybe even 1 gig. I know I had one laptop that had like only 1 gig of RAM. It was a Windows 8 Acer Aspire. Acer Aspire. Windows 8 laptop. It had 8 gigabytes. Eh? Really weak processor? Maybe the processor was really weak, I suppose. Using Chrome at that time. True, Chrome leaked out memory when it first came out. Spirituality is a coping mechanism, and different people use and develop different coping mechanisms. People nowadays live long enough and have enough spare time to think about existence and faith. SpongeBob, everything is Chrome in the future. So I have an idea about this towel here. What if I color this towel pink, maybe? Like so. Colorizer. Let's make a colorizer. What if I color it kind of pink, like so? And then... Yosh. How's that? I think that's a bit better. Yeah. Finally, with a blush done. Everything else done. There is only the glow around her is really nice. I forgot to add the other part for the eyes. Right here. Do it like this. Ah, 0 pixels. Hey! People were always destroying theirs and others' societies. Religion and spirituality are a cult-like mentality used by the rich and powerful to divide and distract the masses, while they steal all the money. No, I don't think so. I mean, even in, very, tribal people from, back then, religion always, developed eventually, and it wasn't always for nefarious purposes. People need something to believe in, basically. Or some way of explaining the unknown before we turned to science, before we invented science. They prey upon the physically, mentally, and emotionally weak, give them a false sense of hope, and then proceed to use it as a pretext to rob them of what little they're worth. What was it of a spiritual faith that encouraged the Mongols to march across Asia and destroy the Baghdad House of Wisdom? It wasn't. It was geography. Belief systems and spirituality are not the same. Speaking of, how would you define spirituality? And I think you said they're different from religion, like us. I think you said spirituality is different from religion. Organized religion has a clerical class that have a heightened value according to its society. That is just factually true. Yes. I forgot I had this thing as reference here. Totally forgot about it. Meh. Well, whatever. Yep, same. Okay. Spirituality is a view of a plane of existence outside of the material world, where the inner workings of the universe and life lay beyond the physical scope. Shintoism. I see what you mean. Thank you for the explanation. I understand. A way of life. Hmm. Shintoism believes in literal gods. Not exactly, according to Ravenflight. Hello, Ace Artemis number 423. Welcome. I thought I made this darker, but somehow it did that instead. Needs to be much darker, I guess. Let's see. That works. More than you could ever draw in 100 years? No, just study how to do illustrations for like a month or so. Anybody can do this much. It's nothing special, it's just a skill, which I acquired. Spirits that are embodiments of concept. A kami is a conceptual spirit, or nature spirit. Embodies a concept of the aspect of the world. LDP says, I guess spirituality is harmless. As long as it isn't being used exploitatively, but I feel that religion is an obsolete practice. Now to show you guys why this is a lewd drawing. You realize that kami is see-through. Some kami need to override others. The general concept of existence needs to have a kami. And at that point, that's basically a god. If you put it that way, I guess a kami is a god, but just not in the usual way that we, not in the Western sense of being a god. A god with extra steps. What do you define as a god? Creator of humanity, creator of the earth and seas, the planet, the universe. Personally, I define a god as a sentient being that is omnipotent or omniscient, or just a being with an existence that is beyond, with abilities that exceed, basically a 4D being, a sentient 4D being. Yes, that's how I would define a god. A 4-dimensional being that is sentient. That, to us, would be a god. That is how I would perceive a god, if such a thing existed. You're talking to Katsu though. I just wanted to answer that. He's a Costa del Sol song again. I remember now that it's from Costa del Sol. Do 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 do. Always nice to hear from me. Arigatou. Now I show you guys why this illustration is nice and lewd. Kami are more products of the world than the world being products of Kami. What is a god but a miserable pile of omnipotence? But enough talk. How about you? Ho 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 ho. Soap operas. Ho 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 ho. Got idea? Yeah, make these soap colors here. Maybe I'll just make the soap nice and white. Typical bar of soap. Actually, let's look at what a bar of soap looks like. Bar of soap. Mostly white. You can make it pink as well. Maybe I'll make it pink, all in keeping with the theme we got so far. If you want a grand interpretation of God, I would suggest Philip Mainlander, one of the saddest of sad philosophers to ever sad. I see he's quite a sad person, or was, I guess. That all seems a little bit sad. And that's just too bad. Eh. Forgot to darken. This will do fine. Well, maybe make it 3 pixels like this. So that it's very soap-like. Why, we're almost done here. And now, what we need is background. He believed that God was the most depressed being in the universe, pretty much. Now let's go to Tensor. Well, create stuff on Tensor. Oh no! Why is there nudity there? You see that? Hot springs, no character, only background. Shower! Only background. Portrait. Hello, Alvin Size. Welcome. I think, oh no. We shall, turn off display capture a bit because, the AI, somehow generated some not safe for YouTube stuff. Mainlander thought that God didn't want to exist but couldn't not exist because God so it devised a plan to make its existence meaningless through self-deconstruction. Sounds like some way of how is life? Life is okay. Only background, no character. So we are living on the rotting corpse of God. Sounds like some convoluted way to explain the scientific concepts we have of how the universe was created. Sounds like some guy wrote a fanfic based on the scientific explanations we currently have. In Mainlander's philosophy, the purpose of life is to die. This was before we had the Big Bang Theory, by the way. Oh, I see. Now that's interesting. He predicted it, at the very least. He was a very troubled person. Well, I guess being a troubled person sometimes makes you creative. No character, only the background. Why won't you just show me the background? I need to generate some shower stuff. Let's add a Laura. Room. No, shower, maybe. We don't have a shower. Maybe just a room. Da, 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 da. Alright. That would explain me using the phrase, God is dead. Da, 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 da. bathroom floor. Do, do, do. I don't think so. Katsu said he was also playing some Pal World. So maybe he's in and out of this stream. Hey. I see you found a way to avoid my trap card. Yes, trap card. Try typing ah with 2H. See if I can make this one work. I think I can make this one work. Alright. So I can reactivate my display capture now. The not safe for work stuff is gone. I just had to add a Laura. Yes. Do 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 do. Now to add some shadows, maker. There we go. That works. That works. Now then. Add some shadows here. To make her more natural looking on the floor. hyper nihilist that eventually followed through on it. In the end, so he committed Sudoku. Right after the publishing of his first book. At least he wasn't a homelander, or we'd all be in trouble. Hmm. Then he might follow through with his philosophy by testing it out on other people. Need to go and do something. Bye bye. Bye bye, Katsu. Also advocated for public welfare as a primary function of the state. Equal rights to all individuals and the right to die. Interesting. Perhaps his philosophy would have gone over better in Asian cultures, I think. Like Japan. Maybe even China. Perhaps it would have been better received. That towel is kind of clinging onto her too tightly. But I don't mind. That said, we'll add some droplets of water now. Do 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 do. That was the plan. It was, actually. It was indeed the plan. He was censored and labeled a socialist in the 1840s. Interesting stuff. Personally, not something I would spend too much time reading up on. But still interesting to hear about. He's mostly fascinating because of the people he knew personally. He personally knew one Friedrich Engels. Oh, I see. Need some reference now. My previous drawings, how did I make them look wet? Like this. I see. I did that sort of thing. How about you? How did I did that sort of thing there. Okay. Wakata. And Sigmund Freud would analyze his writings too. He knew people in high places in society. I guess because of the censorship, he wasn't really that prominent. He was always the one to de-escalate. Could it be that his philosophy is just misunderstood? I mean, that too is a possibility. Droplets need shadows now. Make said shadows a bit more prominent and we go back to droplets 2 here and 5. I knew I did something wrong. Should be 0 pixels. Much better. It's more like it. It was misunderstood greatly, as he did not advocate for death, as some said, but rather that the goal should be to reduce suffering as much as possible. If anything, he was a humanist. He called himself an atheist, and yet would often go onto religious ramblings with his philosophy. Put some people off, but he espoused compassion above all else. Interesting. Why is this not? Eh? Oh! Eraser. I was using an eraser. It happens. I was wondering why the whites were not coming out from the brush. I was using an eraser all along. Do 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 do. He mostly believed that should one choose to pass on, that's their choice, but only once they have done all they feel they can do for the well-being of themselves and those around them. I see, I see. That's why you said he followed through with his philosophy. I guess he felt after publishing his book that he had done his job. Okay, now we add more wetness. Kingdom Hearts. This one, I think. Wet stuff. There are some who think his death was not self-inflicted, but instead set up. Highly controversial to the nobility and upper classes of the time. Probably people who didn't even truly understand his philosophy. Yes. Pseudo-intellectuals. Heh. Dun 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 dun. I mean, when you explain it, his philosophy is not that disagreeable. Kinda aligns with my personal philosophies. Hey. Pretty sure I've heard this before, but I'm not sure where. Then, we'll do layer, bevel, and emboss. Ha! What is that thing? Yes. It's more like it. This one even. Do 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 do. 44%. Should do it. Hey. That's nice and vibrant. For someone so welcoming of death, he was very much against dealing it upon others against their own will. Unlike some people, he thought the violent overthrow of the establishment was unnecessary and strongly advocated advocated for persuasion and protest as a key means of getting democratic procedure implemented. So, he was a pacifist. I see, I see. Very, interesting stuff. Sounds like they could make a movie about his life story. Better if it was an anime. Hmm. Try colorizing this to pink. After that, use multiply, overlay, screen. Not sure what. Hey, this one is okay. Too dark. Soft light. So many options. I see his life and work weren't translated. That's why I've never heard of him before. Hey, it's done. Now to have some fun with this. So I said this was lewd by implication. Here it is now. Now it's done. Oh, I forgot. There are those stray strands of hair like this here. Maybe I'll do something like that too. Stray hair strands. Stray hair strands around 3 pixels. Physical copies of many of his books were subject to book burning. Sad. I mean, his philosophy actually seems a lot more agreeable to me than many other philosophers from the past. Was very modern for its time, true. how did the AI do the hair here? That's kinda a little bit too messy, but do a bit of a compromise on that. Sure, I can make a little bit of a compromise and do something like this. Hair strands. You know what? Delete this. Delete layer hair strands. Add layer hair. Yeah. Add layer hair strands here. His philosophy sounds like a decently educated, edgy, modern high school dropout. That's true. Now then. Simply enter the room and place down a bottle of liquid soap, as it is the superior bathing option. Right. Drops. No. Hair strands. Use 3 pixels. No simulate pressure. And with that, we shall add some color to some of these, like this. Exactly how the AI did it. Maybe add some outer glow to it. That kind of works. Yes. And now a little bit of erasing at the tips. Mainly because solid soap has the issue of causing shower scum mold growth. Very cute. Yes. Cute and lewd by implication, but only by implication. Otherwise, it's just nice and innocent. I guess I can call this done now. Save this. As a PNG. Huh? PNG. Just wanna give head pats. 1,800 by 3,000. That's kind of big, but whatever. Next. I guess this is done now. Now to make my schedule for next week using this. Oh wait, this. Now, layer merge visible. Hey. Ah, okay, there. The figure I used for the initial drawing as reference. Gotta get the anatomy right, after all. Alright. Merge visible here. Very good. Desho. Maybe a bit too, there. Okay, I'm not sure yet what I want to stream for next week, so just leave it like that. Now for my unscheduled stream stuff. Ah. Okay. Ah, yes, very cute. Bit bigger. You know what, maybe just make it nice and small. I don't know. This angle kind of works. Alright. stretch this out a bit. Oopsie. I want to make her a bit bigger. I guess that'll do. Let's see how it looks. Okay, I guess that'll do. And then something like this. Yes, balloon. Final Fantasy 8. Yes, good stuff. My unscheduled stream thumbnail. Okay. Now let's turn this off. Display capture. And here is the thingy. A very exploitable image. Eh? Huh? Did not save. Oh, it's a PNG. That's why. Did go into Google Drive. Pretty sure I saved it somewhere. Oh well. Now it should work. Oops, it worked a little too well. A little too big. make it occupy as much space as possible. Ah, there we go. And here is the full illustration. Okay. I guess I can call this done now. What time is it? 3:22 a.m. Good time to end the stream. Got an ear infection, I need some rest. Rest well. Thank you, Ravenflight. Same time here. Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess I'll call this then. I'm satisfied enough. Alrighty, so tomorrow will be Emulation Nation. Gonna play some. I'm going to play some games that people requested and some games I said I would play, like Ninja Gaiden Trilogy for SNES, which most people say is the bad version, the inferior version. I want to see what's inferior about it. Having no nostalgia for Ninja Gaiden should be an interesting take on the games at least. Play a little bit of them. Then Wolfpack requested Soul Calibur 3. Other than that, don't think there's anything else. Okay, with that said, I'm just gonna say thank you guys for watching. So this has been Elle Talks, and I am out. Bye-bye! Bye-bye!
Nyan, 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 ni hao nyan. Rồi, sẽ delicious,